The Earth is like a giant treasure chest full of captivating structures and locations that defy scientific explanations. From the island where time stands still, to the actual gates of hell, these enchanting locations have left experts clueless and speechless. Join us as we take you on a wild adventure through the 20 most mysterious places scientists still can't explain. Number 20. Door to Hell. Located in the heart of Turkmenistan, near a small village in Darvaza is a hole that has been burning with an unquenchable fire since 1971. Famously known as the Door to Hell or the Darvaza gas crater, this 230 feet wide blazing inferno has captivated scientists and explorers for years, defying all forms of logical explanation. But while the idea of an actual doorway to Hades may sound fanciful, that's not what this place is. The history of this awe-inspiring crater takes us back to 1971, when the Soviets accidentally punched a massive underground cavern filled with natural gases. The ground collapsed, swallowing the entire drilling rig, and then poisoning fumes started leaking from the ground at a catastrophic rate. At this point, the Soviets didn't know how to avoid a full-blown environmental disaster, so they set the hole on fire, hoping the gases would burn out within a few weeks. But it's been 53 years since then, and the fire is still going strong, with no signs of slowing down anytime soon. Even after years of research, scientists still haven't figured out why the hole seems to have an inexhaustible supply of gas, which has kept the fire burning for decades. Although it's obviously dangerous, the blazing inferno of Turkmenistan is a wonder to behold. And even though it looks like the last place anyone should be, it has become a tourist hotspot, with thousands of people traveling from far and wide to witness the enthralling spectacle. There's a shocking twist to this story, though. In 2022, President Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov ordered the government to begin researching how to put the fire out, so it's possible this mysterious hellhole won't be around for much longer. Number 19. Wave Rock. Travel with us to the enchanting land of Australia, where a magnificent rock has captured the attention of both scientists and amateur explorers. This is Wave Rock, a geological wonder located near Hayden, Western Australia, standing at 49 feet high and 360 feet long. What makes this rock so special, though, is the distinctive shape which looks like an ocean wave. Nobody knows how the rock was formed or how it was transformed into this peculiar shape, but there are theories about weathering and erosion. According to scientists, the wave rock was once part of a large granite dome that formed deep underground. Over time, the dome was exposed to the elements, and the softer parts began to erode away. The harder parts that were left behind, such as the quartz and feldspar crystals, formed this unique wave shape, which continues to attract hundreds of tourists every year. However, not everyone agrees with the scientific consensus on this place. For a lot of people, the wave rock is something more than just a product of nature. People have proposed theories about extraterrestrial activity and how aliens could have used the spot for communications or as a landing spot for UFOs. But whatever was responsible for this unique formation, the wave rock remains an enigmatic monument steeped in intrigue. Number 18. Lake Maracaibo. Did you know that there is a place on Earth where an everlasting lightning storm has been raging for thousands of years? This is Lake Maracaibo, a brackish lake located in northwestern Venezuela, wedged between the states of Zulia, Trujillo, and Mérida. It's recognized as one of the oldest, largest lakes in South America, with a surface area of 5,217 square miles. It's also one of the oldest on Earth, having formed around 36 million years ago. However, the allure of this place isn't just in the size and age. You see, Lake Maracaibo is also home to an anomaly known as the Catacombo Lighthouse, the world's highest concentration of lightning. Every year, the lake receives an average of 233 flashes per square kilometer, which means for 300 days of the year, this place is always immersed in constant lightning shows like you won't find anywhere else in the world. There is no thunder, just lightning, almost every day, for thousands of years, and scientists can't really tell why it really happens. However, they believe this strange phenomenon is caused by the convergence of cool air from the Andes and moist air from the Caribbean, which generates a constant cycle of convection. As the warm air rises, it cools and condenses, forming towering clouds which then creates an environment of electric activity. This perfect symphony of natural elements had created an enigma that still astounds the world, a place that seems more like a fantasy than a reality. Number 17. Nazi concrete rings. For over 60 years since the loud bangs of World War II ceased, the mysterious concrete rings in Murmansk, northwest Russia, have left the world puzzled. These bizarre structures, located just off the coast of the Barents Sea, were apparently built by the Hitler's regime during the brutal days of World War II. But no one knows exactly what they were built for. Following the downfall of the Hitler's evil Third Reich, the Soviet Union restricted access to the site, locking away the secret of the facility forever. What could these rings actually be? UFO landing site? Secret government experiment? Or something more sinister? The most popular theory points to the Nazis' wonder weapons and space-age anti-gravity devices. Could the propaganda machines propagated by the Hitler government during World War II be actually real? Did Hitler truly experiment with extraterrestrial anti-gravity technology as many have speculated? The answers to these puzzles remain elusive. However, other historians have suggested that the concrete rings were actually used as fortifications for artillery pieces used by the Red Army, which seems to be the only plausible explanation. Number 16. Al-Nasla Rock Formation. Deep in Saudi Arabia's Tama Oasis is the oldest human settlement ever discovered in the ancient city. In this settlement, you will find a mysterious stone, balanced on two small platforms, and split in the middle by a tiny line. This is no ordinary rock. This is the Al-Nasla rock, a 20-foot-tall mysterious piece of natural art that has tingled the imagination of researchers and scientists for decades. What force could have sliced through a rock with such precision? Was it nature, a supernatural force, or perhaps even the hand of God? No one knows exactly how this rock became split, as though they were cut by a laser beam. Carbon dating revealed its age to be around 4,000 years old, but that does little to explain its origin. Adding to the mystery are the petroglyphs etched into the two sandstones, one of a person leading a horse that resembles an Arabian, and another one of the world's oldest horse breeds that's still in existence in Saudi Arabia today. One theory that tries to explain its existence mentions how the rocks are sitting upon a fault line, so they were probably split by the shift in tectonic plates over millions of years. However, other theories claim that the split was caused by the action of water erosion over millions of years, creating this perfect slice that baffles the human mind. Number 15. The Devil's Kettle. Where does the water of the Devil's Kettle disappear to? That's a mystery scientists have been trying to solve for a very long time. Located in Judge C.R. Magny State Park, the Devil's Kettle is a waterfall, which at first glance may look like a normal waterfall, but when you look deeper, you realize something shocking. You see, the eastern flow of this stream goes over a two-step 50-foot waterfall and continues down into the water below. However, the western flow goes right into a pothole and then disappears forever. No one knows where the water flows to even after years of studying the site. Visitors have even tried dropping sticks, ping-pong balls, and even GPS trackers into the Devil's Kettle, but none of them ever surfaced downstream. So could it be possible that the water simply flowed into the earth and disappeared? Or does the fall have an outlet nobody knows about? Where does the water flowing from the Devil's Kettle go? Scientists are still trying to figure that out. Number 14. Mysterious Spotted Lake. Lake Kliluk, a unique body of water located between the Okanagan and Similkameen valleys in British Columbia, is another mysterious place that confounded scientists for years. What makes this lake so unusual are the distinctive patterns, which scientists have finally attributed to the high concentration of minerals in the water. These minerals include magnesium sulfate, calcium, and sodium sulfate, as well as traces of silver and titanium. When the water evaporates in the summer months, these minerals become visible in the form of spots formed on the lake's surface. This creates a kind of natural find you'd rarely find anywhere else in the world. But before you pack your bags and head out to this lake, you should know that access is heavily restricted, since it is an ecologically sensitive area. In order to protect this natural wonder, a fence has been installed around it, and visitors are only allowed to observe it from afar. Number 13. The Blue Hole of Belize. Although it looks like the remains of a mythical undersea kingdom at first glance, the Belize Blue Hole is actually a natural formation. Located some 60 miles offshore from Belize City, very close to the Lighthouse Reef, the Blue Hole is the world's largest sea hole, with a circumference of about 984 feet and a depth of 354 feet. To put that into perspective, if you throw the Statue of Liberty into this hole, it'll swallow it effortlessly. For many years, the Blue Hole of Belize was a secret known only to the fishermen of the city, but on a fateful day in 1971, legendary marine biologist and undersea explorer Jacques Cousteau visited the site, and it became world famous. Cousteau and his crew explored the Blue Hole aboard the Calypso, and he was the first to confirm that the mythical structure was formed thousands of years ago when rising tides flooded a network of caves. But even though the scientific explanation seems quite plausible, there's no way to know for sure if that's how this place was really formed. Until we can bend the fabrics of space and time and explore the years past, we may never be able to unlock the mysteries of the Blue Hole. Number 12. Gungi Wamp, Connecticut. The woodlands near North Groton, Connecticut is home to an ancient structure that has continued to baffle archaeologists and seasoned scientists. This is Gungi Wamp. No one knows exactly who built the structures or why, but they show obvious signs of human involvement, so they must have been left behind by an ancient settlement or civilization. The origin aside, the site itself inspires curiosity. This stone complex is divided into the north and south sections, with many features like a double circle of stone, standing stones arranged in a peculiar fashion, and multiple stone chambers. There are also stone mounds, cairns, stone walls, some petroglyphs, and a rock ledge called the Cliff of Tears, where visitors have reported having inexplicable feelings of sadness or depression. Why this happens, no one really knows. Some believe this spooky site was originally built by the ancient Celts, who came to Groton with the hopes of establishing a new colony. But if that were true, how then do we explain the strange experiences some of the visitors speak of? With no historical record of its construction to guide us, unveiling the secrets of this ancient site has been an uphill climb, and even with years of research, no conclusions have been reached on its origin, purpose, and timeline of construction. Number 11. Australian Pink Lakes. The wild and wonderful land of Australia is home to some fascinating lakes that might at first appear like a giant pool of bubblegum, a mesmerizing natural phenomenon known as a pink lake. Even though they may appear to have been created by a Barbie-crazed scientist, the pink lakes are actually made by nature itself, with no human involvement at all. Australia is home to 10 of these unique lakes, all of which are scattered across the country's western coast. There's Lake Hillier, located on the remote Middle Island. Then there's Lake McDonnell, the brightest of these pink lakes. And then there are others like Bumbunga Lake, Lake Warden, and Lake Retba, to mention a few. These pink lakes have captivated our collective imaginations for centuries, and scientists have conducted study after study to determine what gives the lakes their characteristic pinkish hue, and they've come up with these explanations. You see, according to researchers, the pinkish coloration can be traced right back to the microorganisms that inhabit the waters. Dunaliella salina, a type of algae that thrives in high salt concentrations, can be found in these waters, and scientists believe that it's responsible for the reddish-pink hue. The pink lakes are also home to halobacteria, a special breed of bacteria that thrive in salt flats and emit a red pigment. These two species combined their characteristic colors to produce this unique pink hue that can only be found in very few places around the world. Number 10. Lake Natron. Lake Natron in Tanzania is one of the most serene lakes in Africa. However, it's also known as the lake that turns animals to stone. These are not just mere idle tales or conspiracy theories, but actual cases that have been confirmed by scientists. You see, the alkaline in the lake has a pH that's as high as 10.5, which means it's so toxic that it can literally burn the skin and eyes of the animals that aren't adapted to these extreme conditions. The lake is only about 9 feet deep, 35 miles long, and 13 miles wide, and it usually stays at an average temperature of 40 degrees Celsius. The crazy thing, though, is that not all birds become salt statues as soon as they come in contact with the waters. Birds like flamingos seem to thrive in this place. It's a safe breeding ground, and since most animals find the conditions too caustic, they're able to procreate freely without worrying about predators. Number 9. Barac Plateau. The vast wasteland of Barac Plateau, located in the Kyzylorda region of Kazakhstan, is a place surrounded by a cloak of mystery. Once an island in the extinct Aral Sea, the waters surrounding Barsakelmez simply dried up one day, transforming it into a plateau. However, the most captivating aspect of this special location isn't its size or the history of its formation. It's in the stories and dark tales that have emerged from its haunting depths. The name itself translates from the Turkic language, "Who goes there will not return," which alone is enough to strike fear into the heart of even the bravest explorer. Even the locals revere this place, as they believe that certain paranormal activities take place within the eerie landscape, a belief backed by several legends. One of the legends about this place was written by a man named N. Rorik in his book, The Heart of Asia. He wrote a true story about a group of people who visited the island on a science trip that lasted just a couple of years. But by the time they got back home, they realized that 2 to 3 decades had passed since they left, adding to the intrigue of the Barac Plateau. What is it about this place that tinkles with the balance of time? Why does time pass by faster within the plateau? Unfortunately, those mysteries remain unsolved. Number 8. Eternal Flame Falls. Deep within Chestnut Ridge County Park, just south of Buffalo in New York, there is a beautiful natural reserve with a small waterfall. Behind this waterfall, there is a flame that has been burning since God knows when. No one knows who started it, and even the water surrounding it has never been able to put it out. This is the Eternal Flame Falls, a fascinating phenomenon that puzzles scientists, as it defies any scientific explanation. This fascinating phenomenon only exists in 9 places around the world, and this is the most popular of them all, tucked behind a 29 feet tall waterfall. Many say the flame was lit by the hands of the gods, while others claim that it must have involved extraterrestrial activity one way or the other. However, scientists believe that the phenomenon is the result of something called a macro seep, which is a spot in the ground where natural gases like methane, ethane, and propane can escape through the cracks in the rock. This particular macro seep emits approximately 1 kilogram of methane a day, which has fueled the flames for thousands or even millions of years. But the flame doesn't always stay lit, though. Heavy winds and changes in weather conditions sometimes blow out the flames, but the locals constantly reignite the flames, a practice that has now taken on the form of a religious tradition. Number 7. Barabar Caves. The Barabar Caves, located in the eastern Indian state of Bihar, are a group of rock-cut caves with a history that dates back to around 250 BC. Historians believe it was carved during the glory days of the Mauryan Empire, and it's the oldest surviving rock cave in all of India. This magnificent structure is located in the Makhdumpur region of Jahanabad district, in Bihar, about 15 miles north of Gaya. There are 4 different caves on this hill: Karan Shaupar, Lomas Rishi, Sudama, and Visvakarma. The most famous of all these caves is Lomas Rishi, with its beautifully carved door and the air of mystique that surrounds it. There are just 2 rooms in this cave, which are believed to have been used as a retreat spot for Buddhist monks. But how did those ancient craftsmen carve out such delicate spaces within rocks? How did they do it without the help of advanced tools like we have today? It's an astonishing mystery that may never be solved, since the history of this place was never documented. Number 6. Devil's Tower. When President Theodore Roosevelt designated Wyoming's Devil Tower a national monument in 1906, it was the first natural wonder to receive the title. This massive rock tower, encompassing over 2.1 square miles of the Wyoming landscape, is believed to be the remnant of a volcanic intrusion now exposed by erosion. Scientists believe that it was formed when molten rock being pushed upward encountered a hard rock layer, and was then forced to spread this distinctive flat-topped shape. The Devil's Tower has a flat top covering 1.5 acres, and it stands at about 867 feet from the base. Its top has an elevation of 5,112 feet above sea level, towering over the surrounding area like a majestic throne. For the many Plains Indians who have lived in this region for thousands of years, the tower is a sacred site where they perform religious rituals and ceremonies. The site is also a popular site for mountain climbs, and this differing interest often clashes in months like June, where religious activities are always at an all-time high, and coincidentally also the most popular climbing months. However, recently a lot of climbers have chosen to avoid going to the tower in June out of respect for the religious traditions of the local tribes. Before we go on with the rest of the video, here's our subscribers' pick for today. Deep within an ancient forest lies a mysterious sculpture whose origin remains a mystery. Local legends claim it was crafted by the hands of the gods and sent down the earth as a monument of worship. However, others believe the incredibly lifelike sculpture is the work of a master craftsman, built to near perfection. And even though it is now overgrown with vegetation, the great statue remains a monumental piece of ancient art, lost within a deep, dark forest. But there's a pressing question no one has been able to answer until now. Is this statue real, or is it just the product of an overactive imagination? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section below. Now let's get back to the video. Number 5. The Crooked Forest. This forest in Poland is the only place in the world where you can find these oddly shaped pine trees, bent and contorted by a force no one can identify. It's located near the village of Nowe Czarnowo in Gmina Gryfino, and it has been the subject of conspiracy theories and speculations for a very long time. 400 of these trees fill this unique forest, all with unusually curved trunks, which take a sharp 90-degree turn, curving to form the shape resembling the letter J. However, even after years of research, no one has been able to figure out how all these trees grew with an identical curve. Historians claim that the pine trees were planted sometime in the early 1930s. However, as World War II told in, Gryfino was invaded and totally destroyed, and so was the secret of this bizarre forest. The only plausible explanation for this strange phenomenon was put forward by a man named Gary Coleman, an associate professor of plant science and landscape architecture at the University of Maryland. He theorized that the trees were probably laid on their sides in their early lives, although no one knows what strange force was responsible for that as well. Whether it was formed by human activity or a mysterious force no one can identify, the Crooked Forest continues to draw tourists in droves with its unique kind of beauty. Number 4. Coral Castle. In an unincorporated territory in Miami-Dade County, Florida, there is a strange limestone structure known as the Coral Castle. It was said to have been single-handedly crafted by a Latvian-American eccentric named Edward Lieskalnin, however. The exact details of how he achieved this remains a mystery. As the story goes, Lieskalnin was 26 years old when he was suddenly rejected by his 16-year-old fiancée Agnes Skufst in Latvia, just one day before their wedding. Heartbroken, Lieskalnin left for the United States, only to come down with terminal tuberculosis. This is where the story takes a pretty interesting turn. Lieskalnin claimed he was miraculously healed of the deadly disease, stating that magnets had something to do with his healing process. He also claimed that he received special magnetic powers in addition to healing, the same power he used to lift the heavy stone slabs used in his art pieces. The structure comprises numerous large stones, each weighing several tons, which have been sculpted into a variety of shapes like tables, chairs, a crescent moon, a water fountain, and a sundial, and it still remains a fairly popular tourist attraction even today. Number 3. Cave of Crystals. Back in the year 2000, 2 miners were following traces of silver in the Nika mine, some 980 feet below the ground in Nika, Chihuahua, Mexico, when they stumbled upon a cave that looked like something straight out of a Superman movie. Welcome to the Cave of Crystals, a subterranean chamber filled with some of the largest natural crystals ever discovered. While it's usually referred to as one single cave, the gigantic cavern is actually a network of 3 separate caves, with one being way larger than the others. The stalactite crystals in these caves have been growing consistently for 500,000 years, away from the prying human eyes. These crystal pillars are so massive that human beings look like ants standing beside them. But how did they form in the first place? For a long time, this was a huge mystery, until researchers decided to look underneath the cavern, and that was when they discovered a massive pool of magma. You see, when the gypsum-rich groundwater flooded the cave some thousands of years ago, it was met with a sizzling hot condition caused by the magma, and as the years went by, the gypsum in the water crystallized slowly and steadily, forming what we now know as the Cave of Crystals. Not everybody is satisfied with the scientific explanation, though, as some actually believe the cave was created by some ancient deity or an extraterrestrial force. As such, the site remains a subject of mystery, and some might even say it looks too good to be true. Number 2. Abraham Lake. This is Abraham Lake, an artificial lake located in the Kootenay Plains area of the Canadian Rockies, on the North Saskatchewan River in western Alberta, Canada. The lake was created in 1972 by the former Calgary Power Company, now known as TransAlta, following the devastating floods caused by the construction of the Bighorn Dam. However, the most intriguing thing about this lake isn't the history, but the fascinating and potentially hazardous nature of its waters. See, under this lake, you will find frozen bubbles of trapped methane, giving the lake a pretty cool look. These bubbles often result from decaying plants on the lakebed. Thanks to this unique and equally mysterious phenomenon, the lake has become a popular destination for photographers and nature observers. Number 1. Michigan Triangle. You've heard of the Bermuda Triangle, a mysterious spot in the North Atlantic Ocean where ships and even airplanes are pulled into the depths of the ocean by an unknown force. But did you know that there is a part of Lake Michigan that holds the same kind of history as the Bermuda Triangle? This mysterious triangle stretches from Ludington to Manitowoc, down to Benton Harbor, and then back to Ludington, and it has witnessed a number of shipwrecks, mysterious disappearances, and plane crashes. It was in the 17th century when the Michigan Triangle claimed its first victims, a French sailing ship named Le Griffon, which was pulled in by a mysterious, unforgiving force, and since then the triangle has become notorious for claiming many vessels. Adding to the intrigue are the many UFO sightings that have been reported in the area, leading to speculations about alien involvement and the covert operations of extraterrestrial beings on Earth. So why does this place continue to swallow planes and ships? Just like with the Bermuda Triangle, no one has still been able to figure it out, and it remains one of the spookiest places in the United States. Thank you for watching this video. See you in the next one.